I'd bent over backwards to win my mother-in-law's approval. I cooked every meal, scrubbed every floor, handled every bill, and bit my tongue every time she snapped at me. But the day I came home to find her coaching my 3-year-old son to call me a worthless slut and tell me to drop dead, that was the day every last shred of warmth I had for this family died. My husband called it kid stuff, said I was overreacting. So I didn't yell. I didn't cry. I just turned on the recorders. 2 weeks later, at my father-in-law's 60th birthday party, while Marge was bragging to every relative about her perfect grandson and how well she handled me, I pulled out a voice recorder, connected it to the biggest speaker in the room, and hit play. The whole room went up in flames. Chapter 1. My arms burned from the weight of the grocery bags. Plastic handles digging red lines into my wrists. I'd stopped on the way home from work to pick up Marge's favorite peaches and the expensive ribeye Jake craved. Like I always did. I turned my key in the lock and pushed the door open. And that's when I heard it, Marge's sugary, scheming voice drifting from the back bedroom, followed by Liam's baby giggles. Atta boy. Liam. Grandma's sweet boy. Her voice dropped to a conspiratorial purr. Now, when that mean lady comes home, you take this cup of water and throw it right at her legs. Okay, you do that. And Grandma gives you a whole chocolate chip cookie. I froze in the entryway, grocery bags slipping in my grasp. Mean lady. Worthless slut. She was saying these things about me, her daughter-in-law. The woman who paid for every roof over their heads to my 3-year-old son. I set the bags down quietly, my hands shaking, and walked down the hall. The bedroom door was cracked open. Liam was standing on the bed, holding his sippy cup full of water. His little face lit up like he was about to play the best game ever. When he saw me, his eyes went wide. He scrambled off the bed and came barreling toward me like he'd been given a mission. Bad mommy. Stupid slut. Die. His tiny voice was bright, cheerful, as he spat right at my jeans. Then he reared back and sloshed the entire cup of water down my calf and all over my brand new leather flats. Cold water seeped through my sock, icy against my skin, but it was nothing compared to the ice in my chest. I stared at my son. There was a smug little grin on his face, like he'd just won a prize. His eyes were sharp, mean, nothing like the soft, sweet baby I'd held hours before. It felt like someone had reached inside my chest and squeezed my heart until it bruised. I grabbed his arm gently, my voice trembling. Liam, who taught you to say those things? Before he could answer, Marge came lunging out of the bedroom like a rabid raccoon. She shoved me hard in the shoulder, and I stumbled back in my heels, nearly falling. She snatched Liam into her arms and wailed at the top of her lungs. Oh my God, she's hurting him. Clara, you monster. You're hurting my grandson. The office door slammed open. Jake came storming out, eyes wild. He didn't glance at my wet jeans, my flushed face, my shaking hands. His gaze locked right on Liam, tucked into Marge's chest. Fake sniffling. Clara, what the hell is wrong with you? He marched over, jabbing a finger in my face. He's 3 years old. 3. It's just kid talk. Why do you always have to make a huge deal out of nothing? Kid talk. I laughed, bitter and sharp. I pointed at Marge. She taught him to call me a slut. She told him to throw water on me and tell me to die. Jake rolled his eyes, swatting my hand away like I was a gnat. Would you stop being so paranoid? My mom is almost 60. She was just messing around with him. How can you be so goddamn bitter all the time? Messing around? I repeated. The words felt thick and sour in my throat. You think teaching a toddler to curse his own mother is messing around? Marge saw her opening and turned on the waterworks, dabbing at her dry eyes with the back of her hand. Jake, baby, I'm so sorry. I just wanted Liam to say hi to mommy. Be silly with her. I didn't know she'd fly off the handle like this and scare the poor baby. Liam peeked out from behind her and stuck his tongue out at me. Daddy says you're a mean old dragon. I hate you. I only want Grandma. That was the last straw. I stood there and looked at the 3 of them, the cruel mother-in-law, the spineless husband, the little boy they were turning against me. They were a unit, all on the same side. And I was just the outsider who paid the bills. A cold, calm numbness washed over me, putting out all the fire in my chest. There was no point yelling, no point arguing. They'd never listen. They'd never care. I took a deep breath, wiped the water off my leg, and turned toward the kitchen. "Clara, I'm talking to you," Jake yelled behind me. "Don't you walk away from me." Marge muttered something about me being a spoiled brat, and then the living room filled up with their laughter again. I stood at the sink, washing vegetables, cold water running over my hands. My face was blank, but my eyes? They were already planning. That night, I made dinner: roasted veggies, garlic mashed potatoes, a perfect ribeye, everything they loved. They didn't speak to me through the whole meal. I even tried to put a piece of Liam's favorite honey garlic chicken on his plate. He swatted it right off the table with a clatter. "I don't want it. Bad mommy's food is poison." Jake opened his mouth to snap, but Marge beat him to it, piling more chicken onto Liam's plate. "That's right, baby. Eat grandma's. Hers is safe." Jake closed his mouth and went back to shoveling food in his face, like nothing had happened. I didn't feel anything anymore, just hollow. That night, I lay in bed next to Jake, snoring and reeking of beer and video game energy drinks. I pulled out my phone in the dark, screen glowing faint on my face, and placed my order. 2 mini voice recorders, 3 tiny hidden cameras, one disguised as a wall outlet, one as a nightlight, one small enough to tuck into a stuffed animal. The next day was Saturday. The packages arrived before noon. I told Jake and Marge there was an emergency at work, that I had to go in. I grabbed my bag and walked out the door, calm as could be. Chapter 2. I didn't go to the office. I sat in a coffee shop 3 blocks from the house for 3 hours, reading the instruction manuals for every device, testing the mics, checking the camera angles. When I got home, I told them the crisis had been resolved faster than expected. Jake and Marge exchanged a look, asterisk, there she goes again, work-obsessed asterisk, and went back to watching TV, while Marge took Liam out to the front yard to show him off to the neighbors. I moved fast. I tucked the first camera into the eye of Liam's favorite teddy bear, the one that sat on the living room couch, pointed right at the dining table and sofa. The outlet camera went in the master bedroom corner, covering almost the whole room. The third, smallest one, I sewed into the inner pocket of Liam's dinosaur backpack, the one he carried everywhere. As for the voice recorders, one went in my purse every single day. The other I taped to the wooden beam under the living room couch, where no one would ever look. When I finished, my hands were clammy with sweat, but my chest felt lighter than it had in months. From that day on, I changed my whole routine. I left work right at 5:30, home by 6 o'clock sharp. I took over every chore, mopped the floors until they shone, cooked dinners fancy enough for a restaurant. I smiled through every snide comment Marge made. I brushed off every time Jake ignored me to play video games. To them, it looked like I'd finally learned my lesson, like the talking to they'd given me had worked. And I'd accepted my place, the maid, the bank account, the doormat. Marge got bolder. The more nice I was. She thought I couldn't hear her, couldn't see her. But every word she said, every cruel thing she did, was being captured crystal clear. The first day, the couch recorder picked up her little lesson with Liam. "Liam, if mommy won't buy you that big dinosaur toy at the store, you lay right down on the floor and scream. Okay, you cry as loud as you can. Tell everyone there that mommy hits you and won't feed you." Liam's little voice was confused. "But mommy feeds me." Marge's tone went sharp. "Mean. Grandma says you say it. So you say it. You want to be bad? You don't listen to grandma? Then nobody loves you. Daddy won't love you. Grandma won't love you. We'll put you out on the street." Liam started sniffling, quiet and scared. "I'll be good. I'll listen." I was sitting in my home office, listening through my earbuds, and my fingers curled so tight around my pen they turned white. The next day was worse. I got home from work and went to the bathroom to wash my face and my entire skincare set. The $2,800 set I'd bought with my bonus after landing the big client was gone. The bathroom reeked of cheap kids' body wash. There was white cream smeared all around the rim of the toilet. Liam came trotting out of the bathroom, grinning like he'd won a prize. "Grandma, look." I poured all the bad lady's goop down the toilet. Marge swept him up into a hug, cooing, "That's my good boy. That stuff was just your daddy's money wasted on that selfish woman. It deserved to go down the drain." I stood in the hallway, staring at my empty vanity. That set had been my one splurge all year. Jake had called me selfish for buying it. Now his mother and his son had flushed it down the toilet like garbage. Jake wandered out of the bedroom, saw my face, and shrugged. "Chill out. It's just face cream. Kid made a mess. Buy another one. Getting all upset over it makes you look petty." I stared at him. I wanted to pick up the vase on the counter and smash it right into his stupid face. Instead, I smiled. "You're right. It's no big deal. Kids will be kids." I was actually wanting to try a new brand anyway. My compliance made him preen. He nodded, satisfied, and trundled back to his game. Marge gave me a smug little smirk from across the room. See? I win, that night. Jake rolled over in bed and reached for me, reeking of energy drink and microwave popcorn. "Come on. Babe, you've been so good lately." His hand slid up my shirt, and I felt my stomach turn. I shoved him off hard. "I'm tired. I don't feel good." Jake's mood flipped instantly. He rolled away, snarling, "Tired my ass. You're just being a frigid bitch. God, you're such a headache." He was snoring 5 minutes later. I lay there in the dark, wide awake, until the sun came up. I put my earbuds in and replayed every second of footage from the day. Marge's snarls, Liam's parroted insults, Jake's lazy agreement. "Just don't push her too hard. Ma, who else is gonna pay all the bills? Relax. She's not going anywhere. She's got no family to run back to. Women like her, they just need to be put in their place." Every word ground away at the last little bit of feeling I had left for this marriage. I backed every single audio clip and video file up to the cloud, encrypted, labeled with dates and times. Then I texted my best friend from college, Vivian Reed, the best divorce lawyer in the city. "Viv, I need your help." Chapter 3 2 weeks went by fast. My perfect wife act had Marge and Jake completely relaxed. The house settled into a weird, fake kind of peace. Marge stopped sniping at me as much, no need to bully someone who'd already rolled over. Jake stopped picking fights, because I waited on him hand and foot and never bothered him. And under all that fake calm, I was stacking up evidence, enough to burn them to the ground. One night at dinner, Frank, Jake's dad, called. He was turning 60, and he wanted a big party at the Grand Palms, the fanciest event venue in the city. Every relative, every old coworker, everyone he knew. Marge answered the phone on speaker, preening, "Don't you worry about a thing, Frank. Clara's got it all covered. Money's no object." She hung up, set her fork down, and looked at me like I was her personal assistant. "You heard the man. His 60th birthday. You make it nice. Book the biggest ballroom at the Grand Palms. Top shelf open bar. Filet mignon for everyone. And you cover the whole thing. Understand? We can't have Frank looking cheap in front of his friends." Jake nodded along, mouth full of mashed potatoes. "Yeah, babe. It's his big day. You're the daughter-in-law. Step up." I stared at them, calm on the outside, screaming on the inside. For 3 years, I'd made almost 3 times what Jake made. The mortgage, the car payments, the groceries, every utility bill, all of it came out of my account. The house itself? My parents had bought it outright before we got married. Put it in my name only. Had all the paperwork notarized. Jake's paycheck? Every dollar went straight to Marge's bank account. For safekeeping, he said. Now they wanted me to foot the bill for Frank's fancy birthday party. Like it was my job. Like I owed them. A year ago, I would have argued. Now I just smiled and nodded. "Of course, Mom. I'll call the venue first thing tomorrow. I'll make sure it's perfect." They both blinked, surprised. Then Marge's face split into a smug grin. She thought she'd broken me. Thought I was her personal ATM now. Forever. That night, I pulled up the bedroom camera footage. Told you she'd cave. Marge said. Preening. All you gotta do is lean on Emma little. Women like her? They crave approval. Jake snickered. Nice work. Ma. Free party for Dad. And we don't pay a dime. Score. What came next made my blood run cold. I'd pulled up Marge's Facebook Messenger a few days prior. She used the same password for everything and found a voice note she'd sent to her group of church friends. I played it back, my thumb hovering over the screen. Ladies, you all better be at Frank's birthday next month. Her voice was giddy, triumphant. I got that daughter-in-law of mine so trained it's hilarious. Wait till you see what I got planned. I'm gonna have Liam call her outright in front of everyone. Embarrass her real good. Show all of you how you handle a spoiled working wife. That was her endgame. Not just my money, my dignity. Crushed right in front of every person we knew. It got worse a few days later. I'd taken Liam's iPad away because he'd been on it for 4 hours straight. Way past his screen time limit. He'd thrown a fit and run straight to Marge. The recorder in his backpack picked up every word of what she told him next. Shoo, don't cry. Sweet boy. That mean lady is just being awful. You know what you do? On Grandpa's birthday, in front of all the people, you stand right up there and tell everyone. Her voice dropped low. Venomous. You tell everyone Mommy doesn't love you anymore. Tell them she has a boyfriend and hits you and doesn't feed you. Cry real hard. Everyone will feel bad for you and yell at her. Then she'll never take your iPad again. My vision went white for a second. She wasn't just being cruel. She was trying to destroy my reputation. To turn everyone against me. To make me out to be an unfit mother. And when I pulled up the living room camera footage from that same afternoon, Jake was sitting right there on the couch, scrolling on his phone, listening to the whole thing. He looked up at Marge and grinned. Damn. Ma. That's brutal. Kid sharp. Though. Takes after me. Gonna know how to get what he wants. Takes after him. Brutal was a good thing. To them. I sat at my desk, shaking so hard my teeth chattered. Then I stood up, grabbed my keys, and walked out the door. I drove straight to the mall. I put down a deposit on the Grand Palm's biggest ballroom. Paid in full. Then I walked into the audio equipment store. I need the loudest, clearest portable Bluetooth speaker you've got. Outdoor rated. Maximum volume. The salesman showed me a big black unit, the size of a small suitcase, built for outdoor festivals. I swiped my card without blinking. On the drive home, Vivian called. Clara? Everything's ready. I drafted 2 sets of papers. One's a settlement offer, generous on paper, but weighted completely in your favor on the house and custody. The other's the full filing. Bank records showing Jake funneling his paychecks to his mom. All the audio and video cataloged as exhibits. If he tries to fight it, he's gonna get destroyed in court. You'll get full custody. No question. I listened to her calm, steady voice, and the rage in my chest settled into something sharp and cold and ready. Thanks. Viv, hey. No thanks needed. Pricks like this? They deserve everything they get. I hung up and stared out the windshield at the passing streetlights. The play was written. Now I just had to let it happen. When I got home, Liam was asleep on the couch, mouth open, clutching his dinosaur. I leaned down and brushed the hair off his forehead. I'd carried him for 9 months. I'd almost died giving birth to him. Seeing him twisted into this little weapon, it hurt worse than anything Jake or Marge had ever done to me. But I knew the only way to save him was to yank him out of this toxic mess, to burn the rot out, even if it hurt. I'm coming for you, baby. I thought. I'm gonna get you out of here, no matter how messy it gets. Chapter 4. Frank Carter's 60th birthday arrived bright and loud. The Grand Palms ballroom was gilded and massive. Crystal chandeliers hanging from the ceiling. White tablecloths and centerpieces of roses. Every relative from both sides of the family was there. Plus Frank's old coworkers. Neighbors. People from church. I'd given Marge everything she'd demanded. Top-shelf liquor. prime rib and lobster tails. Favors for every guest. A thick red envelope with cash for every kid there. I wore a soft champagne dress, did my hair and makeup perfect, and stood by the door greeting people. Every aunt and uncle who walked in shook their heads and smiled. Frank. Marge. You hit the jackpot with this one. Beautiful. Makes great money. So sweet to you both. Marge was decked out in a shiny purple dress, grinning so wide her cheeks had to hurt. She waved a hand like it was no big deal, but her voice carried across the entryway. Oh, you know how it is. A woman needs a firm hand. Jake keeps her in line. That's all. Just like that. Every bit of my work was credited to her son's manliness. Jake sat at the head table, slouched in his chair like he owned the place, soaking up the compliments. Every 5 minutes he'd bark an order at me. Clara. Go get Uncle Ray another beer. Clara. The veggie platter's empty. Go find a server. I smiled and did every single thing. With every task. Every smile. The timer in my head ticked down. Pretty soon, all the attention turned to Liam, the star of the show. As far as Marge was concerned. Look how cute he is. Just like Jake. Smart little guy. You can tell. Marge squeezed Liam tight, practically glowing with pride. Oh, our Liam's extra special. He's got all kinds of tricks up his sleeve. She gave Liam a tiny, secret nod. Showtime. Liam wiggled out of her arms and scampered right up onto the little stage at the front of the room, the one meant for cake cutting and speeches. Every head turned. Every eye landed on him. He grabbed the plastic toy microphone Marge had snuck him, cleared his throat like he'd seen on TV. All the relatives chuckled and clapped, expecting a little song or a happy birthday wish. Look at him. So brave. What's he gonna do? How cute. Liam grinned out at the crowd. Then he pointed his little finger straight at me. By the door. Every gaze in the room swiveled my way. My heart skipped one beat. But I didn't look away. I stood there, calm, waiting. Liam held the toy mic up to his mouth. In that sweet, hi, 3-year-old voice everyone thought was so adorable. He yelled as loud as he could. Grandma says this lady is a loser. She's a stupid slut. She has a boyfriend and hits me and doesn't feed me. She's a bad mommy. I want her to die. The words hung in the air, bright and sharp. The whole ballroom went dead silent. 1 second there was laughter and chatter. The next, you could hear a pin drop. Every face was frozen, shocked, awkward, curious. I could feel dozens of eyes on me, pity, judgment, quiet glee. Marge's face flickered with a quick, nasty smile before she covered it with fake horror. Jake's face was exactly what I expected, annoyed, angry, ready to blame me for everything. I stood in the middle of all that quiet, and I smiled. My turn. Chapter 5. Clara. What the hell is wrong with you? Jake was on his feet first, yelling. He didn't go to Liam. He didn't correct his son. He stormed right toward me, red in the face. Look what you did. You made him hate you. You're a terrible mother. Marge hurried after him, clutching her chest like she was about to faint. Oh, my goodness. Everyone. I'm so sorry. Kids say the darndest things. He just gets so excited. He doesn't know what he's saying. She patted Liam on the head and slipped him a candy when no one was looking. Eyes glinting. The room erupted into quiet murmurs. That's a little much for a kid to just make up. Yikes. I can't imagine teaching a baby that. Well, if the kid says it, there must be some truth to it, right? I ignored all of it. I looked right at Jake, red-faced and screaming, and walked slowly, steadily, toward the front of the room. My heels clicked on the marble floor. Click, 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 like a countdown. I pulled the small black voice recorder out of my clutch. Then I walked over to the side of the stage, where I'd set up my big portable speaker earlier that day, hidden by a potted palm. I flipped it on. Bluetooth connected. The chime rang out loud and clear through the whole silent room. Jake's face went white. Clara, don't you dare. Not today. This is my dad's birthday. You'll embarrass us all. I didn't answer him. I picked up the real event mic, held it to my mouth, and let my voice carry through the speaker system. Crisp and calm. Hello, everyone. Thank you all for coming. I know you just heard my son Liam say some very interesting things. My mother-in-law, Marge, told you it was just kid stuff. An innocent joke. I paused, my eyes locking with Marge's. She was starting to tremble. Well, if it's just a joke, why don't we all hear the rehearsal? Let's listen to the director give her notes. I tapped my phone screen, and the first recording blasted through the speakers, loud and clear, for every single person in that room to hear. It was Marge's voice, sweet and sickly. Okay, Liam. Say it with Grandma. Slut. 1 time. 1 candy. Die. 2 candies. Come on. Louder. Stupid slut. Then Liam's tiny voice. Hesitant at first. Then proud. Slut, die, good job. That's my smart boy. Here's your reward. The room exploded. The ants who'd been defending Marge 5 minutes earlier had their mouths hanging open. Marge's face turned bright purple, then gray. She pointed at me, sputtering, no words coming out. I didn't stop. I swiped to the next clip, turned the volume up higher. Marge's voice, sharp and venomous, filled the ballroom. Your mommy is a useless loser. All her money belongs to Daddy and Grandma. When you grow up, you take care of us, not her. When she gets old and can't work anymore, you throw her out on the street. Let her beg for food. Let her see what happens when she doesn't do what we say. The crowd roared. People were gasping, pointing, staring at Marge like she was a monster. Frank, the birthday boy, was sitting at the head table, his face so dark with rage it looked almost purple. He slammed his fist down on the table so hard the glasses rattled. I still wasn't done. Third clip. Jake's voice. Lazy and cocky. Just don't push her too far. Ma, who else is gonna pay all the bills? Right? Doesn't matter what we do. She'll forgive me. Buy her a dumb necklace and she's over it. She's not gonna leave. What's she gonna do? Be a single mom? No one wants that. She's stuck. Dead silence. Every eye in the room turned to Jake. Disgust. Pity. Mockery. Jake's face went from red to white to green. Then he snapped. He roared and charged at me, arms flailing. You crazy bitch. Turn that off. Turn it off right now. Marge came screaming after him. Nails out. Aiming for my hair. I'll tear your face off. You little witch. I was ready. I stepped aside right as Jake lunged. He stumbled past me, slamming hard into the speaker stand. Marge came at me, and I didn't hold back. I shoved her as hard as I could, both hands on her shoulders. She yelped and stumbled back, her heel twisting under her. She went down with a heavy thud, landing hard on her but on the marble floor. I looked down at her, voice ice cold. We're not done yet. Sit down. Chapter 6. The recordings kept playing, looping the worst of the worst, echoing through the ballroom. Marge was on the floor, her dress hiked up, wailing at the top of her lungs. My ankle. It's broken. She broke my ankle. Help. Someone help. Jake helped her sit up, then turned on me, eyes wild. Are you happy now? You've ruined everything. You've humiliated our whole family. I walked over and hit pause on the speaker. The room went quiet again, heavier than before. I stepped up to Jake, held the mic out to him like I was interviewing him. Your mom taught him. You explain. And if you can't, my lawyer will explain it to you tomorrow. I'd practiced that line 100 times in my head. It felt even better saying it out loud. Jake's mouth opened and closed. Nothing came out. What could he say? The proof was blasting through the speakers 10 seconds ago. Everyone heard it. He reached for my hand, voice cracking. Baby, Clara, come on. Don't do this. Family stuff stays in the family. We can talk about this at home. Okay, we can fix this. I pulled my hand away like he'd burned me. Family stuff? This isn't family stuff. This is you and your mother abusing a 3-year-old to punish me. This is you leeching off me for 3 years and calling me stupid behind my back. If you were so ashamed of people finding out, you shouldn't have done it. I reached into my clutch and pulled out the thick stack of papers Vivian had given me. I flung them down onto the lazy Susan on the head table. Pages went flying everywhere. That's the divorce papers. The house is mine. Premarital asset. Paid in full before we got married. You get nothing from it. Those are copies of all the evidence. The recordings. The videos. The bank records of you hiding your paychecks with your mom. Sign it. And we walk away clean. Don't sign it. And we see you in court. Marge saw that begging wasn't working. So she switched to screaming. She sat on the floor, pounding her fist and wailing. Everyone listen. This evil woman is trying to ruin our family. I raised my son by myself. I gave her a home. And now she's throwing us out. I'm gonna die out here. She's killing me. A year ago, I would have panicked. I would have caved. Now I just laughed. Sharp and cold. Save it. Marge. This whole room has security cameras. Everyone saw you run at me first. Everyone heard what you did to Liam. And for the record, I'm filing for a restraining order. You will never be alone with my son again. If you so much as walk within 100 yards of him, I'll have you arrested. You think you're ever gonna see him again? Think again. The words hit her like a punch to the face. She stopped screaming, just stared up at me, shocked. The relatives were murmuring louder now. God, that's so messed up. Teaching a baby to hate his own mom? I always thought she was nice. Turns out she's just mean. Can you blame the wife? I'd have done the same thing. Frank stood up, shaking all over. Enough. All of you. Enough. This is a disaster. I didn't even look at him. I walked over to the stage, where Liam was standing, crying hard, scared by all the yelling. He'd been awful to me. He'd said terrible things. But right now, he was just a scared little kid. He was still my baby. I knelt down and picked him up, wrapped my cardigan around him. He sobbed and grabbed onto my shirt, little fists tight. Mommy, that one word softened the edge of the ice in my chest. Just a little. I rubbed his back, then turned to the whole room, voice steady. I'm taking my son home. The rest of you? Enjoy the party. My lawyer will be in touch. I walked out of that ballroom, head held high, holding my son tight. I didn't look back. Outside, the sun was shining. For the first time in 3 years, I could breathe. Chapter 7. I didn't go back to the house. I drove straight to Vivian's place. She opened the door, saw me and the red-eyed, sniffling Liam, and pulled us right in. Hot showers first. I ordered pizza. Your favorite. We'll handle everything else after. Warm lights. Clean sheets. A friend who didn't ask stupid questions. I felt my shoulders drop for the first time in weeks. After Liam was bathed and asleep on Vivian's couch, I got to work. First thing, I pulled up my credit card app. Jake had an authorized user card on my account. $30,000 limit. He used it for everything: gas, video games, beer, dinners with his friends. His own paycheck went straight to Marge. So this was his only real money. I hit freeze. 30 seconds later, my phone blew up with calls from Jake. I declined. Blocked his number. Blocked him on Instagram, on Facebook, on email. Every way he could reach me. Gone. Second thing, I called a 24/7 locksmith. Hi. I need my house locks rekeyed. New code on the smart lock. Highest security possible. Address is 412 Oak Ridge Drive. I'm the owner, Clara Hale. I'll send you my ID and deed right now. Name your price. Third thing, I texted the property manager of our gated community. Hi, Ron. This is Clara Hale at 412 Oak Ridge. I've changed the locks on my house. I'm sending you photos of 2 people, Jake Carter and Marge Carter. They are no longer allowed on the property. For any reason. If they show up or cause trouble, call the police immediately. Thank you. Fourth thing, I called a moving company. Hi. I need 2 movers tonight. Same day. Address is 412 Oak Ridge Drive. I need all men's clothing and all women's clothing belonging to an older woman, my ex-husband and his mother, packed up and left on the front porch. Everything else stays. Yes, all of it. Treat it as abandoned property if no one picks it up. When I hung up, I leaned back inside. Fast. Clean. No mercy. Vivian handed me a glass of wine. Grinning. Damn. Clara. Remind me never to get on your bad side. These people don't get second chances. Sure enough. A couple hours later, Jake and Marge showed up at the house. Drunk and furious from the party. They tried their key. Didn't work. Tried the door code. Wrong. Jake started calling Vivian nonstop. Since he couldn't reach me, Vivian put it on speaker. Where is she? That crazy bitch. She can't lock me out. That's my house. It's marital property. Vivian's voice was cool and professional. Mr. Carter. First of all, Ms. Hale does not wish to speak with you. Second, that residence is Ms. Hale's separate premarital property. Deed is in her name only. Purchased in full prior to your marriage. You and your mother were allowed to live there as guests. She has revoked that invitation. Your belongings have been packed and placed on the front porch. I suggest you collect them promptly, as the HOA will remove abandoned items in 48 hours. There was a long, shocked silence on the other end. Right. They'd just assumed the house was theirs. They'd never asked. I'd never corrected them. Neighbors posted videos in the community group later that night, Marge sitting on a pile of suitcases in the driveway, screaming at the top of her lungs. Jake pacing and yelling into his phone. Security escorted them off the property, per my request. I watched the clips, and I felt nothing. That was just the start. The next morning, I sent an anonymous email to Jake's company's HR and compliance departments. I attached every detail I knew, the kickbacks he'd taken from vendors, the fake expense reports, the times he'd billed clients for work he never did. He'd bragged about all of it to me. Drunk. 100 times. As for Liam, I knew he was hurt and confused. Vivian recommended a top child psychologist in the area, and I booked an appointment for the very next day. I was gonna get all that poison Marge put in his head out, no matter how long it took. Chapter 8. Without a house. Without a credit card. Without any real money. Jake and Marge's life fell apart fast. They ended up in a gross, cheap motel way out by the highway. The kind that doesn't ask for ID. After 3 years of living in my nice clean house, having me cook and clean for them, free of every responsibility, they couldn't handle it. And they turned on each other. Just like I knew they would. I didn't see it, but I got the play-by-play from the frantic, angry texts Jake sent to Vivian. This is all your fault. You and your stupid mom. You had to teach him all that garbage, and now we have nothing. Me? You're the one who couldn't keep your wife under control. I told you to make her put your name on the house before you married her. You never listen. Now look at us. Back and forth. Screaming at each other. Blaming each other for everything. Jake tried to come find me at work. He showed up in the lobby. Suit wrinkled. Beard grown out. Eyes bloodshot. Like he hadn't slept in a week. The front desk had my instructions. They turned him away. He loitered outside the building until I walked out with a client, Marcus. Head of the biggest account we had. Nice guy. Drove a black Porsche. Jake watched through the glass as I laughed and shook Marcus's hand. Then got in the passenger seat of his car to go to dinner. I saw him in the rearview mirror. His face was twisted up with jealousy and shame. Good. I wanted him to see. I wanted him to know I didn't just survive leaving him. I thrived. The family group chats were a disaster. Someone had recorded clips of the birthday party audio, and they were everywhere. Jake and Marge were the laughingstock of the whole family. Jake left the group chat in a rage. He didn't find out until later that he'd already been kicked out. Marge didn't give up, either. She missed Liam. Or missed having a toy to control. One of the two. She showed up at Liam's preschool one afternoon, trying to push past the front desk. I'd hired 2 off-duty security guards to wait there, just in case. They picked her up and walked her right off the property, like she was a stray cat. She laid down on the sidewalk and screamed that the school was kidnapping her grandson. The cops showed up. I sent the officer on duty the audio clips of Marge coaching Liam. He wrote her up for disorderly conduct and took her to jail for 3 nights. Those 3 days were hell for Jake. No one to cook for him. no one to do his laundry, no money, and his job was on hold because of the compliance investigation. He sat alone in that motel room eating microwave ramen. And finally, he started texting me apologies. He sent them through distant cousins, through old friends, anyone who still had my number. Clara, I'm sorry. I know I messed up. Please come back. I won't listen to her anymore. I miss you. I miss Liam. I read them, and I felt nothing but pity. Not for him. For the version of him I thought I'd married. He didn't miss me. He missed having a maid and a wallet and someone to take care of everything for him. That wife was gone. She died the day her 3-year-old son spat at her and called her a slut. Chapter 9. A month later. The divorce case went to family court. Jake did the dumbest thing he could have done. He fought it. He hired a cheap lawyer, showed up in a press suit, hair gelled back, and tried to play the devoted husband and dad. He cried on the stand, voice cracking. Your Honor, I don't want a divorce. We love each other. This is just a rough patch. She's keeping my son from me. I'm devastated. I just want my family back. He was a worse actor than he was a husband. Marge was there too, on crutches from her ankle, hobbling up to the witness stand like she was on her deathbed. Your Honor, that woman is a monster. She abuses me. She neglects that poor boy. Liam is scared of her. That's why he said those things at the party. He was crying for help. They lied and lied, trying to paint me as a cruel, unfit mother. A few of their relatives sat in the back, shaking their heads, putting on a show. I sat there, calm as could be. Vivian stood up, crisp in her blazer, and smiled. Your Honor, the defense has given us quite a story. We'd like to present our evidence. She handed over 3 thick binders. Exhibit 1, 32 audio recordings and 18 video clips, collected over a 2-week period. They show Marge Carter systematically coaching a 3-year-old child to insult, threaten, and lie about his own mother. They also show Jacob Carter was fully aware of this behavior, encouraged it, and participated in demeaning his wife. Exhibit 2, 3 years of bank records. Mr. Carter has diverted over $90,000 of marital income to his mother's personal account, under the guise of savings. This is fraudulent transfer of marital assets. His spending on his authorized user card also far outweighs any financial contribution he made to the household. Exhibit 3, psychological evaluation of Liam Carter, conducted by a licensed child psychologist. The report concludes the child is suffering from significant emotional distress and behavioral issues directly linked to prolonged exposure to harmful coaching and verbal manipulation from his paternal grandmother. Every time Vivian listed another exhibit, Jake and Marge got paler. The judge ordered one of the video clips played in court. Vivian picked the worst one, footage of Marge pinching Liam's thigh hard, making him cry, then telling him to practice his sad face for the party. Cry harder. Baby, that's it. Everyone will feel so bad for you. They'll all hate Mommy. The courtroom burst into murmurs. Even Jake's own relatives looked horrified. Jake just sat there, mouth open, shocked. He had no idea I'd had cameras. Marge went pale and started hyperventilating. I stood up, looked right at the judge, and spoke clearly. Your Honor, I'm not just asking for a divorce. I'm asking for full legal and physical custody of my son. I'm asking that Mr. Carter be ordered to pay child support, and that he reimburse the marital assets he funneled to his mother. I'm asking for damages for emotional distress for both me and my son, and I am requesting a permanent restraining order against Marjorie Carter. No contact, no visitation, no approaching within 100 yards of my son. Ever. My voice was steady. Every word landed. Marge tried to stand up and scream, but the bailiff warned her to sit down. Jake didn't say a word. The judge called a recess to deliberate. As I walked out of the courtroom, Jake caught my eye. He looked terrified. Sorry. In his own way. Begging. With his eyes. I looked right back. There was nothing left in my gaze for him. Just cold. Empty nothing. Chapter 10. The verdict came back a week later. It was a clean sweep. Divorce granted. Full legal and physical custody of Liam to me. Jake got supervised visitation once a month. At a neutral location. If he completed parenting classes. Child support set at $1,200 a month. Until Liam turns 18. The house was confirmed as my separate property. Jake was ordered to sign over any claim within 7 days. He was ordered to pay back $45,000 of the diverted marital funds. Emotional distress damages, $30,000. And the restraining order against Marge was granted for 2 years. 100-yard minimum distance from Liam. His school. Our house. Jake appealed. The appeals court upheld every part of the ruling. His life fell apart completely after that. The compliance investigation at work concluded right after the trial. He was fired immediately. For expense fraud and taking kickbacks. Word got around the industry. No decent company would hire him. No credit card. No job. Child support piling up. The $30,000 judgment hanging over his head. He couldn't keep up. He tried one last trick. He waited for me outside my office building. I walked out after work. And there he was. Leaning against a lamppost. Gaunt. Clothes rumpled. When he saw me, he ran over and dropped to his knees right there on the sidewalk. In front of all my coworkers. Clara, please. I'm so sorry. I know I was wrong. It was all my mom's fault. I love you. I love Liam. Just give me another chance. We can be a family again. He was crying. Snot running down his face. Clinging to my legs. People stopped and stared. Pointing. Whispering. I looked down at him. Jake, you said it was all just a joke. Remember? My voice was flat. Calm. Funny how you're not laughing now. He blinked. Confused. Tears still running. I pulled a tissue out of my bag and held it out. He reached for it. Hopeful. Like I was softening. I let go right before his fingers touched it. It fluttered down and landed on the dirty sidewalk at his knees. Wipe your face. My voice was cold. Sharp. Unforgiving. You look pathetic. And I don't do pathetic. And for the record, Jake, I'd rather be alone forever than spend one more day married to a man like you. You want a second chance? Earn it in another life. I stepped around him and walked to my car. I didn't look back. Behind me, he howled, loud and broken. I turned the radio up and drove away. I heard later that he ended up with a bunch of debt, got his wages garnished, ended up doing construction work, day labor, whatever he could get. Marge kept nagging him. Kept demanding he take care of her. They fought every single day, screaming at each other, blaming each other for everything that had gone wrong. They treated each other exactly the way they'd treated me. Funny how that works. Chapter 11. 6 months later. Spring was in full bloom. I took Liam to the city park for a picnic. The sun was warm. The grass was green. And Liam was chasing a butterfly around the field, giggling so loud I could hear him from the blanket. He was wearing little denim overalls, his hair messy from running. He was nothing like that angry, mean little kid from 6 months ago. He said please and thank you. He shared his snacks with the other kids on the playground. He crawled into my lap every night and told me he loved me. It hadn't been easy. At first, he'd still throw tantrums. Sometimes, when he was really mad, a bad word would slip out. The ones Marge had taught him. Every time, I'd just hold him. I'd tell him I loved him. But those words hurt people. And we don't say hurtful things. The psychologist helped a lot. Slowly, all that poison leaked out. He learned what love was, what kindness was. One night, he crawled into bed with me, holding his dinosaur, and said, quiet as a whisper, "Mommy, I'm sorry I was mean before. I didn't know it was bad." I held him tight and cried quiet tears into his hair. My baby was back. We were laughing, packing up the picnic, when a voice called out from behind us. Well, look who it is. Clara and little Liam. It was Linda, an old neighbor from the Oak Ridge house. She grinned down at Liam. Goodness, look at you. Such a polite little gentleman. You're like a whole different kid. I smiled. Kids grow up fast. As we talked, I glanced over her shoulder. There was someone standing behind a big oak tree, trying to hide. It was Marge. She looked terrible. Thin, gray hair, hunched over, just staring at Liam. Her eyes were wet. Hungry. Liam saw her too. His smile dropped right off his face. He scurried behind me and grabbed onto my shirt, squeezing tight. He was shaking. Just a little. He leaned in and whispered in my ear. So quiet only I could hear. "Mommy, is that the mean lady?" 3 words. I saw Marge freeze. She'd heard him. That one little sentence hurt her worse than any court order, any insult, any public humiliation ever could. Her own grandson. The boy she'd doted on. The boy she'd tried to turn into her little weapon. He was scared of her. He thought she was mean. She took one step forward. Like she wanted to say something. I didn't yell. I didn't mock her. I just looked her dead in the eye. Then I picked Liam up, turned around, and walked away. My eyes said everything. "You did this. You don't get to be his grandma anymore." Behind me, I heard her break down crying, quiet and broken. She sank down onto the grass, all alone. She'd planted the seeds. Now she got to harvest what grew. She'd lost him. Forever. Chapter 12. A year later. My life was better than I'd ever imagined. I got promoted to director of marketing at work. Big raise. Corner office. Vivian and I opened our own firm, Hale Reed, a practice focused on helping women going through messy divorces, custody battles, emotional abuse. We gave legal advice, resources, support, everything I'd wished I'd had, back when I thought I was alone. Great job. Great kid. Great best friend. My life was full of light. Jake and Marge? They kept sinking. I heard through the grapevine that Marge had a stroke a few months back. Left her partially paralyzed. Stuck in a wheelchair. Jake couldn't handle it. He worked long days. Came home exhausted. And just left her in her chair all night. Fed her once a day. If that. They still screamed at each other. Every single day. Trapped in that tiny, gross apartment. Miserable together. I didn't feel bad. Not even a little. I posted a photo on Instagram once in a while, me and Liam at the beach. Grinning. Sun on our faces. My latest caption. Took out the trash. Life smells a lot better now. Vivian liked it immediately. All my friends did. No dramatic reconciliation. No forgiving and forgetting. Just me. Walking away. And building something better. That night, I sat on the edge of Liam's bed and watched him sleep. His long eyelashes cast little shadows on his cheeks. I kissed his forehead soft. "One day, baby," I whispered, "I'm gonna teach you what real love is. Real love isn't control. It isn't cruelty. It isn't using people to get what you want. It's respect. It's kindness. It's showing up, even when it's hard." And he was gonna learn it, no matter what.